It's going to be a digit that they can turn on and turn off. So how are you going to fight against that? You can't, which is the reason why they're doing it. We want to put everybody in a system where they can access resources that everybody else has. They're going to sugarcoat everything, every excuse as to why everybody has to have this new digital ID. They're going to have all these new things that locks your money up, and you can't ever take it away from them. When all your real money, they have it. The bank owns that money. Everything that I have in the bank isn't technically mine until I have it in my hands. And it's going to a cashless system. I told you all this stuff years and years ago, and we're seeing it. And it's not just in America, it's every country that's going to roll out a central bank digital currency. And yeah, and South Africa said, well, we're resisting it. You're resisting it for a little while, but it's going to happen whether you like it or not. It's going to happen, folks. It's happening. They're going to be able to stop everybody from protesting because food and money will be controlled. And I don't know all the answers. I don't even know if you being successful as a trader will be enough for some of you. But it's the only thing I can do to feel like I'm doing something positive and not have a guilty conscience. And I'm not exempt. And anybody else out there that has money is not exempt from this. And I am very controversial in the things I talk about. And the more time I spend on social media, the more likely I'm going to say something that's more controversial. And they're going to be adopting a social credit score. Just like in China, that's what's coming here in America. And it's going to come to your neighborhood and your state and your country. It's going to be there, whether you're Republican or not. It's happening regardless. You can't stop it. It's going to happen. So I'm going to be removing myself. I'm trying to get through this year. I'm hoping that I do have the time to get through to November. But I need to take care of my own house. I need to take care of my own family, my own friends. My attention is going to be needed when all this stuff gets really fever pitched. My family members are going to be stressed out. And if my attention is diverted to all of you doing things that it's not necessary for me to do these things. I don't need to do these things. I'm doing it because I want to have a clear conscience when everything's going on and it's knee deep and it's hard for me and all of you. Me having a lot of money in a bank doesn't exempt me from them controlling what we do and how I live my own personal life. If I'm on social media and I say the things I'm saying right now, well, I'm not saying, resist and do this and do that, because I don't think that you're not going to stop it. That's my point. You're not going to stop it. And people that think that they can vote their way out of this stuff, you're not voting anything out of anything. Any person that ever gets in leadership now, they're all part of the World Economic Forum. They're all selected. It's been like that since Reagan. You just didn't know about it. I mean, it's the reality of it all. And it may sound dismal. It may sound, why even bother trading? Because I could be wrong. I could be wrong. And you would cheat yourself out of a lifestyle that, could be great if ICT is wrong. And I hope I am. I hope I'm wrong. I have not been wrong. All throughout all this stuff, before COVID, all this stuff. On Twitter, before I left it in 2019, I said, we are walking into something wicked. Something really wicked is coming. And I saw what was going on over in China. And again, in October, I told you in 2019, I said, man, get ready. Something weird is coming, and it's going to be worse than 9/11 and September 11th when they grounded all the airplanes globally. Everything changes then. The world hasn't been the same since 2011. When I say 2011, 2001, September 11th, 2001. That day started all this. Everything changed that date. The world slowly started changing. In the world prior to 2001, when the World Trade Center buildings collapsed, that has never been the same. And we're never going back to that. We're not going back to the way it was in 2019. We're going into a world that is very closely identified with that book, 1984, which is why I told everybody years ago, read it. And you'll start recognizing where we are, where we're heading, and we're heading there. So having another way of making money is a good endeavor, I think. That's the only way I think you can prepare for it. Learn how to grow your own food, be self-reliant. And if you live in cities like that, it's probably going to be very difficult. So hopefully you have enough time to change your lifestyle to get yourself out of those cities, go into a little bit different, a rural setting, away from the congestion of city life, because that's where there's going to be a lot of crime, a lot of violence. It's going to be unsafe there, and things are going to change from a industry standard across all industries. They're going to be reducing the necessity for people. And what you don't realize is when they told everybody to go home and work from home, they were beta testing a lot of things that were being ran without people being on site. So a lot of the jobs are going to fall away. I mean, even look at McDonald's. They poison you with that garbage. You drive through and you pay too much for poison. They're moving to restaurants that only have one person in them, and they're all basically robot driven. Sounds like the Jetsons, right? Cartoon from the 80s. Think about toll booths when you were driving before. You go through toll booth and you get the people that you would give the money to, and they let you go through, go across the bridge or go through a section of town or a specific highway. They ain't there anymore, are they? I didn't think about that until I was driving down to Florida. I was thinking to myself, I wonder what those people are doing today that used to be in those toll booths. And what are they doing now? And every industry is being shook up because they're preparing for less people. Less people, less headache. You don't have to pay health insurance for them. You don't have to have any kind of, you know, extra this or extra that. And they never call out of work. They never go on maternity leave. So people, from a business owner's perspective, is a need right now. But there's a massive move for people not to be needed. They want artificial intelligence. They want automation. And that is going to make you redundant. You're talking about taking away natural gas hookups in New York, madness. They're talking about no diesel engines in California, madness. Like these things are all eventually coming to. Oh, well, look what happened. The Dutch, the governments are buying out the farmers out there for 100 or 120% of whatever the value is. Why? Food is going to be controlled. You guys were laughing at me years ago when I was talking about it, but you got to take a step back and look at everything they're doing. Cow farts are not going to change the atmosphere. Okay. That's what they're saying. We can't have too many cows. Can't have too many cows. I probably should have warned you when we were transitioning into the tinfoil. Some of you are like, what the hell does this have to do with trading? It has everything to do with it because it's going to be in your house. All these things are going to be impacting you. It's going to impact your life. It's going to impact how you live, what you pay for, what you can acquire, how you feed your children, yourself, if you don't have children. All these things are going to be major impacts in your life, whether you choose to believe it right now or not. It's going to be an impactful event. And you got to prepare yourself, make yourself ready, make your house ready. Non-perishable foods, a way for you to, grow your own food. And it may not be feasible, but you got to do whatever you can, right? What's the point of making all this money if you just ride around in Lamborghinis? Lamborghini ain't going to feed you. Lamborghini isn't going to. If everybody is paying attention, they're trying to put, laws in place that no combustion engines are going to be made after 2025, and in 2030, everything should be electric. Meanwhile, the batteries in these things, what do you do with them when they're no longer any good? You can't just recycle them. They're not all this green stuff that everybody talks about. Look at windmill blades. They're burying them and they never disintegrate. Does that sound like a good use of resources? It's all lies. All this stuff, everything you're told is a lie. Everything about the market you've been learning from all these books and writers and teachers and things that they talk about on the news, it's all lies. You're being lied to. You're being manipulated. You're being controlled by misinformation. And having a lot of money in a world that's changing to this degree might not be enough. And that's my concern. I'm not sleepless at nighttime over it. My faith isn't in money. I've been poor before and I don't care. I know how to fish, I know how to cook, I know how to do all those types of things. I don't need to live on filet mignon. I don't really eat it much. But the point is, I don't need to have a high jet set life. I don't need to have that. For some of you that's never had it, you want it so bad, you're willing to do whatever shortcut there is. But I'm talking about things that you might not be aware of because when it starts happening, it might scare you. It might make you stressed out, and scared or stressful mindsets can't trade efficiently. You'll be consumed with this in terms of anxiety. So if you're told about it in advance and you can make your house ready as best you can, I'm hoping, and this is the only reason why I'm talking about it, I'm not trying to scare anybody. It's not meant to be fear mongering. It's meant for you to just prepare for it. However you feel that you can and how you can, that's all I'm trying to inspire in you. I'm not telling you to resist or go riot at your presidential palace or White House or whatever, because that stuff isn't going to do anything. That's not going to do nothing. It's going to get you in trouble. And that's what you want to avoid. Rising up or insurrections and things, that's what they want. They want that to happen. They want that very thing to happen because that's going to allow them to usher in more control measures with finances and civil control mechanisms. You can't do this, you can't do that. You can only go outside at this time. Down in Baltimore, I don't live in Baltimore. I've never lived in Baltimore. But locally, they have a curfew. If you're this age, you can't be out past this time. If you're this age, you got to be home by this time unless you're going to work. Really? Are you going to be comfortable with that? You can go outside at this time, but not this time. It's like we're in a weird science fiction movie that keeps getting worse. And just because the World Health Organization, WHO, removed the COVID restrictions, and now they say there's no more pandemic. There wasn't a pandemic. They ran a beta test on things to see how far they can get things done, and now they have conditioned. There's people still driving around in cars with the windows up with masks on, and that's a unfortunate thing. I look at my wife all the time, and she sees it too, and she's like, they watch the news, and it scares them. And they're not old. I can understand an elderly person thinking, okay, I can't afford to catch anything. It is what it is. I understand that. These people are young, and your mind is a battlefield, and they're coming at you with everything now. War, rumors of war. They're going to invade. What happens if this and what happens if that? They're trying to scare you with weather balloons. Oh, there's a balloon flying over top of the country. Look, you think China or any other country would use a balloon to navigate and take pictures of? They can do that with satellites. There's so many. There's like 30,000 satellites above our planet right now. You think they can't scan through and see what we have in terms of military bases and how much artillery we have this there? That balloon stuff, it was just a distraction. Watch what they do with that information. It's going to come back up again. You're going to see more of that silliness. Oh, we shot down an unidentified object. Oh, yeah? Right away, everybody's thinking it's ET, some UFO. Like they're literally wearing us down with all this nonsense, constantly keeping you distracted while they're bankrupting every country's currency to usher in a digital currency where they have complete control of you. How you spend your money, where you spend your money. And if you don't listen to them and comply, they just turn it off. What are you going to do? What are you going to do if they do that? What kind of response are you going to have for it? You're going to get angry. You're going to go on social media and complain, and then they're going to do what? Affect your social credit score because you did that too. It's a way of taking away free speech. It's a way of controlling people. And guess what? There's nothing you or I are going to be able to do to stop that. There's nothing, zero, that you're going to be able to do to stop it. So losing control of yourself emotionally over it, either by fear about it right now or getting angry when it happens, you have to find a way to stay in control of yourself and shut your mouth. Not because you're licking the boots, but because why make a target of yourself? Especially if you have kids, if you have children, if you have a family that's depending on you. I don't want to have any more than what's already going to come. And I don't hold back what I think. I say what I think, and it is what it is. So if I remain on social media, all I'm going to do is put a target on myself and just look around, see what they're doing, people.